Uh, 5 past 5, so we'll probably get started. My name is Amaresh Chakraborty. I mean, in this day of COVID, we only know half of each other, and also that's rarely. So, welcome to this very special evening. Uh, the, uh, the beginning of the celebrations that we are planning for the 25th year of the 25th batch of CPDM MDes program, and then it will slide into the 25th anniversary of CPDM, which comes soon in a year's time. So, welcome to all of you. I'm really happy to see so many people in one room to start with, and especially at faculty hall. So it's a room that is normally bustling with activities, and for I think close to 2 years, there was hardly any activity here. So wonderful to have people back in this room. And I have the pleasure in getting started by introducing Professor G.K. Anand Suresh, who is the current Dean of Mechanical Sciences at IISc. Professor Anand Suresh has, of course, distinguished career. He's a mechanical engineer from IIT Madras, and then with a PhD from University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, under very illustrious Professor Sridhar Kota. And he has been working on multiple areas, compliant mechanisms, biomedical devices, and so on. And he's a fellow of the National Academy of Engineering, a Bhatnagar awardee, and so on. Without further ado, I'm just going to call upon stage Professor Anand Suresh to say a few words and also introduce Professor GP.
If you permit me, I'll take off this mask. So we're in transition, so from pandemic to in-person meetings. In fact, today I was very surprised at 4:54 when Amaresh called me that where are you? Meeting is going to start. I thought it must be online meeting, 5 o'clock I'll be there. So we have to get used to in-person meetings. I'm very happy that we are meeting in person here. And congratulations to the MDes program and then CPDM next year for completing 25 years. And I'm also an associate faculty in CPDM for a long time, so I'm also part of this celebration. And I guess this is just the beginning, kickoff meeting for the Silver Jubilee celebration. And I guess there'll be more coming in this year. And I wish CPDM celebration all the best over the year. And now I would like to introduce or call upon Professor G. Padmanabhan, who is a special guest for this evening. He will deliver the inaugural address. And all of you know Professor Padmanabhan, but I still need to say a few words. He was our former director, a distinguished biochemist. And he also brought biotechnology to India, recombinant DNA and a lot of other things to India. In the context of design, which is of interest to CPDM, I must mention his role in DBT BIRAC program. And the kinds of things that have happened because of BIRAC is actually astounding. The number of startups that are there and how they are nurtured. Not just giving the money, the way they are nurtured, because my own students and some of the CPDM students are all supported by BIRAC grants and faculty too. We know it's more than the money, the kind of guidance that BIRAC team gives people in developing innovative technologies. That has really changed the innovation map in India more than anything else. For all of that, I know that Professor Padmanabhan is responsible. He played a great role in that. And another thing that I would like to urge all of you to do is to read two little books that he has written. They are personal memoirs, but also kind of history of biotechnology in India. Also, you can learn a lot about it. I enjoyed reading those two books. They are published by Vignan Prasad, but I think they are available. You know, if you contact me, I can point you to where you can read. You can know a lot about him as well as the Indian biotechnology history in the recent times. So, with that, Professor Padmanabhan, I welcome you to the stage to deliver the inaugural address. Thank you.
Friends, it's indeed very gracious of Dr. Amaresh Chakraborty to have invited me I should only say I happened to be the director when MDes program was introduced. People like Professor Mrityunjaya, they were all behind, and I was examining what contribution I did make either to MDes or to CPDM. There's one contribution I could figure out. You know, that was the time when we were dropping all the BTech programs. I don't know, students may or may not know, Institute had a unique 3-year BTech program after BSc. And many stalwarts have come out of this program. But with the start of the 5-year undergraduate program by IITs, our faculty started feeling, there is no need for us to do undergraduate program, we should do master's program. So I was only insisting, you guys will stop teaching now. No more undergraduate. So you should compensate with master's program. That was the only insistence I was making. The engineers or the engineering scientists in the campus, that you should introduce as many master's program teaching courses in the institute, and which happened. And MDes is one such program. And very unique, CPDM itself, evolution, I don't think at that time or even now you have people combining design with smart manufacture. I'm not very sure, even in this country, I had a tour, Amaresh took me to smart manufacturing lab at CPDM. Wonderful it is, it's really highly educative for me, a person coming from a different branch of science, I and Dr. Chidambaram of BARC, we are writing an article, borderless biology. There is no more borders, In fact, Anand Suresh was mentioning about BIRAC. I have been chairing BIRAC. And most of the projects, successful medical devices projects, are from engineers actually. Only thing is, we keep insisting you should have a clinician in your group. You will make the device, how will you validate it? How will you do the clinical trial? So now people have learned to form groups, engineering community with biologists and clinicians. There are wonderful groups today we have in the country. And BIRAC is supporting something like 700 projects. And I don't know how many startups in the campus are also getting support. One such I met in the smart lab here. Well, I shouldn't take much time except to congratulate the entire group, Amaresh and all the colleagues, Professor Mrityunjaya, who was the first chairman, for having completed glorious 25 years. There is one uniqueness about this institute. We have centers, units, laboratory, department. I never understood the difference between all these. But they continue, for maybe for historical reasons, but they all have a department stature. This is how it is. Apart from that, I do think the center has a glorious future. As I said, it's a very unique combination of design and smart manufacture. And of course, the country, the Prime Minister included, keeps talking about Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, all that, so probably smart manufacture is so important for this country. So I only wish CPDM, Amaresh and all his colleagues a glorious future. And of course, it's too much for me to, it's already, I'm 84. So I have been around last 25 years. It reminds me when you celebrated your Silver Jubilee. I've been around for too long, but it's been a great honor and pleasure for me to have been invited. And I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Professor Padmanabhan, for your kind encouragement. We are really very honored. And now I am going to introduce our first chair, Professor T.S. Mrithunjaya. Professor T.S. Mrithunjaya is one of the most celebrated mechanism theorists in the country and one of the pioneers. His papers are still referred to, heavily cited and so on. And it's no mean achievement to something quite different from what is available currently. I mean, just to put it in perspective, many of these master's programs that are similar to ours started at least 5 years after, including the program at Stanford. And that's I'm glad that the institute actually nurtured this program and allow it to grow the way in which it needed to grow, because it was quite different and it would be hard to find similar examples elsewhere. So it is the team, Mrithunjaya, that started it. So I would like to call upon stage Professor Mrithunjaya to give his inaugural address. Please come, sir.
So I would like to give a brief introduction to the genesis of the MDes program. I have to trace the history of design at IISc. As you know, design at IISc started when mechanical engineering department started machine design program in 1963. Okay. Of course, earlier they had thermal science and engineering program and foundry science and engineering. So machine design started in 63. In fact, I joined the second batch of machine design program. Okay. And program was led by Professor M.R. Raghavan and Professor P. Srinivasan. Professor Raghavan was a design man, while Professor P. Srinivasan was an analysis man. So my own first introduction to design was through Professor Raghavan's courses on introductory design and so on. That is where I was introduced to design textbooks by Lee Harrisberger and J.C. Jones and Matusek. Okay. So that's how I got interested in design. And then we also had a design project at that time. In fact, I remember designing and making or manufacturing or fabricating a rotating moment fatigue testing machine with two of my classmates, at that time. Okay. So then later, after I joined Department of Mechanical Engineering as a faculty, I took over Raghavan's courses on his retirement. That was in 1988. Okay. Now, another department at IISc where design teaching was going on was in the then CEDT, okay, where Pradeep Emior, who is here, was teaching industrial design to electronics students. Now, in 1995, we organized an international conference on advances in mechanical engineering to mark the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the mechanical engineering department. And in that conference, of which I was the convener, we had organized a panel discussion on design education. In fact, Professor Chakravarti was one of the panelists. Okay. So at that time, I and Pradeep Amiyavar thought of why not introduce design, product design specialization at the IISc. Okay. So that was the first motivation. Okay. Then in 1996 or so, as Professor Padmanathan was mentioning, IISc thought of starting new ME programs. In fact, and a committee with Professor Lakshmi Tatachar was constituted to invite and screen proposals for this purpose. Now, using this opportunity, I formulated, with the help of colleagues from mechanical department and the CEDT, a proposal for MDes program to be offered by the mechanical engineering department. So in this connection, I also visited the Industrial Design Center at IIT Bombay to have discussion with the faculty there, on their suggestions and so on. Okay. Subsequently, the proposal was cleared by the mechanical engineering department, and then it got through the faculties and senate and so on, and thus in 1997 we offered the MDes program from the mechanical engineering department. Okay. Well, I was just instrumental in the launching of the MDes program, but it was possible only due to the excellent cooperation and help from several colleagues from mechanical department, from CEDT, and even from aerospace engineering, metallurgy and management departments, who came forward to offer some courses in the program. Now, this is how MDes program started. Now, speaking of CPDM, after a year or so, somewhere in 98, so it was felt in the mechanical department by all colleagues, with valid reasons, that MDes program must have its own home. Okay. Well, in fact, this is very common, it's not unusual. That is what happened in IIT Bombay. MDes program started in mechanical but moved out. Same thing happened in IIT Delhi. It started in mechanical but then moved out. Okay. So, one reason could be it did not fit very well with the research-based programs in mechanical engineering, and also we had thrown open our MDes program to graduates of any engineering discipline, including architects. And before that time, there was no entry for architects to the institute, even in civil engineering department. Okay, so that is one reason. But anyway, it was good. Okay, so at the same time, central workshop chairman Professor Srinivasmurthy retired, and I was asked to take over. And central workshop, which was the manufacturing wing of the IISc, the manufacturing activity was gradually coming down. Okay, so then it was thought, why not make use of that facility to start our CPDM there. So that's how CPDM started, and I happened to be the first chairman, and all the other faculty, beginning faculty are also here. Okay, and in this respect, we got excellent help from the director, Professor Padmanabhan, then deputy director Sridharan, and divisional chairman Professor Ranganathan. In fact, Professor Ranganathan was responsible for the word manufacturing to come into the nomenclature. Before the time, we had not thought of manufacturing, we had thought of only design. So he suggested, why don't, that's how it became Center for Product Design and Manufacturing. Looking back, I feel it was a very good idea. So over the last 25 years, the MDes program has flourished, and CPDM has grown from strength to strength, and producing, I'm sure, a couple of hundreds of product designers, some of whom have become successful entrepreneurs. We saw one here, one is present here. Many are doing wonderful job in the industry, and some have also become faculty in reputed institutions in India as well as abroad. So it has been making wonderful progress. I am sure it will grow from strength to strength in the future. So I have great pleasure in making these opening remarks. I wish all the best to the program, to CPDM, and to all my colleagues here. Thank you.
Okay, so Professor Mrutyunjaya, thank you very much for taking us back to that time. Now I would like to call up on stage Professor Raghuraman Govardhan, the current chair of Mechanical Engineering, and to say a few words. I mean, mechanical engineering has played a central role in getting the MDes program and eventually CPDM started. It's only appropriate that the current chair of Mechanical Engineering speaks about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Amresh. It's indeed a pleasure to be here. I must confess, first of all, that I have, I am much younger at IISc than the 25 years, and I don't know as much about the entire history, but it is indeed a very special occasion, and very happy to be here on this 25th anniversary of the MDes program starting and soon of CPDM. I have, of course, heard a lot about CPDM during my time here. I think when I joined, there were still some common interviews, if I remember right. And that was one of the ways in which I was personally introduced to CPDM, apart from, of course, hearing a lot about CPDM and the MDes program and the very innovative students that the course got from many disciplines, including architecture. Heard a lot about it from all the colleagues, a lot of whom are also faculty in mechanical. And I think it has enriched the faculty and mechanical engineering as well. And so I think rather than going out on a lot, I will just say really great to be here on this very special occasion. As it turns out, we are also celebrating, ME is celebrating 75 years. So sometime down the line, we would also hope we can interact more, and hopefully CPDM continues to flourish and grows from strength to strength. So very great to be here, and thanks a lot, Professor Amresh.
Thank you, Professor Raghu. Well, I'm an alumnus of mechanical engineering, so I'm soon going to join you in celebrating the 75 years. Now I would like to call up on stage my colleague, Professor Vikram Jairam. Vikram Jairam, of course, is a distinguished metallurgist, but much more than that, he was the dean of our divisional chair at that time, he called, of mechanical sciences, when he also started the smart manufacturing program and the advanced manufacturing research program. And he played a significant pivotal role in getting those started. And he has been tremendously supportive for the growth of CPDM, and we can't thank him enough. And we would like to have him on stage. Professor Vikram.
Thank you, Amresh. I thought I was never going to see this hall again. You know, this is the first meeting I've had with so many people around in the last 2 years. You know, as an administrator, there were 2 departments in this division which made life interesting. One was the Department of Aerospace Engineering, and the other was CPDM. CPDM, I will use the generic term rather than name an individual, had an insatiable appetite for doing things and for, of course, money. And, and I think that is a hallmark of the way the department has come up in the last several years. And you're all performing, I think, a very, I won't say it's not unique anymore, but a function in the institute which is very different from those of traditional departments. If you look at the connect between the institute and society at large, which is something which is becoming more and more important. The traditional departments have had to be dragged kicking and screaming into this sort of endeavor, but departments like CPDM, sustainability, maybe the Devecha Center, Robert Bosch, and so on, have really blazed new trails here. And I think CPDM can probably take credit for being the pioneer in this area of moving away from traditional disciplines into a very interdisciplinary, industry-oriented program. So I'd like to congratulate you. This is not just something to say on the 25th anniversary, but something which I think was difficult to do in the early days. Professor Mrityunjaya hasn't told you all the difficulties he had. I'm sure he had plenty of them. And I know the department has had its ups and downs, but I think departments are a bit like us in terms of lifespans. You know, after about 100 years, it's time to reinvent ourselves. But 25 is a good time. Your foundations are laid, and if they are strong and solid, I think you can now look towards making an impact. You have a number of new, dynamic, new young faculty members. I think the faculty strength now, core strength is about 11. You have a very energetic department in the sense that you want to do a lot of things. This is good. You're running different academic programs. You have these new smart manufacturing, digital manufacturing programs. And I understand there's an online certification course which has just begun. And I know Amresh wants to start medical devices and all kinds of things. And this is all to the good, in addition to the incubators and many other ways in which you interact with MSMEs and so forth. But it's good to bite above the number of teeth you have. Is that the expression? I've forgotten. But it's also good to add more teeth. So I think now that we're all coming out of the woods, the review that you planned 2 years ago and which had to be aborted, I think you should put it in place, make a vision for the next 10 years, and persuade some people here to let you hire many more people, because I think you need more people. I think it's impossible for this department, given its commitments at this stage, to be confident of discharging them unless the population is doubled. So in the meantime, enjoy yourselves today, and I am sure some of you will be coming to reminisce about the times you had and where you've been in the last few years after graduation. I wish you all the very best, and I hope CPDM will continue to be one of the flagships of the institute and the way it connects with the outside world. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Vikram. That was very encouraging for all of us. Now we'll move on from the sort of inaugural session to the first panel, and the first panel discussion or reminiscences are going to come from the faculty and any administrative person from that time present here. So I think I'm just going to call up on stage my colleagues from that time. Mics are here. Yeah, you can take the mics. So maybe Professor Mrityunjaya, you can lead the charge, as they say. Please come and join us again at the dais. And Professor Pradeep Yamyavar, please come. Professor Pradeep Yamyavar was again part, of course, of the founding faculty, but also then moved on to initiate many new things at IIT Guwahati, where he was a professor until he has superannuated recently. So welcome. Dr. J.E. Divakar, who has been the vice chairman for many years for CPDM, please come on stage. An outstanding designer, a presidential awardee for his work with the blind, the visually challenged. We are really lucky to have him. Dr. NV's here. NVC Rao, please come. Please come on stage. He has very interesting combination of degrees that normally pushes people to industry. after undergraduate, one does MBA, and then you expect them to go to industry and make tons of money. Instead, he joined academics, and we are very lucky to have him here. Professor B. Gurumurthy, who became the chair after Professor Mrutyunjaya retired. Professor Gurumurthy, again a distinguished geometric modeling researcher, as well as many hats, great designer. So welcome. And then, are we missing anybody else? Professor Satish Vasukailas and Professor Jayavant Arakedi, they are all, and Professor Ghoshal. No, what? Come. Please. They are all part of the associate faculty of CPDM right now. Is there anybody else I'm missing here? Of course, Professor Divakar Sen. Please come. Yeah, and ND Shiv Kumar, please come. I'm still missing somebody. Dr. Shiv Kumar, who else is there? Please don't be shy today. Professor Mary Matthew also, he was from management. I think Professor Mrityunjaya already mentioned that we had a very interdisciplinary faculty. Mary, for many years, served with great distinction our department as well as also management. And then he moved out to Canada. You can see that it's very early in Canada, and Mary is not looking very happy. But thanks for joining, Mary. Is she able to hear me or not? Okay, she is smiling now. All right, so have I missed anybody, any faculty members, founding faculty members right now? Please raise your hand. Okay, all right, I think the dais is yours. I think Professor Gurumurthy is going to be the coordinator, which is basically sort of coordinating. I'll leave it to you, Guru. So we need to give them the mic.
Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to this event. Amresh is thinking that I'm going to coordinate this session. I'm going to do no such thing. This is going to be a free for all, is what I'm thinking it's going to be. Maybe some order, in terms of age and the early roles that they played. So I will defer and hand it over to Mrityunjaya and then Yamyavar first. Okay, so maybe I'll start with Yamyavar first, and then go to everybody, and anybody is free to jump in whenever they feel that they have a point or a counterpoint to make. I just wanted to add two more names to the people being acknowledged, at the start. The then chairman of metallurgy, Professor D.S. Shastri, and then mechanical engineering, Vijay Rakeri. Actually, I think we must acknowledge the efforts both of them made. I think Professor GP might remember that Vijay was very aggressive, with him in all the meetings that we had, to gather support. And D.H. Shastri, I don't think he missed even a single meeting that we used to have in the workshop chairman's office to plan and figure out what is to be done next and so forth. So I think we should place on record their contributions to the initiation of this program as well. So with that, I'm going to let Pradeep have his say, and we are 10 of us, 45 minutes, so that gives you 4.5 minutes, but maybe 5.
Good evening to all. It's an extremely happy moment for me to be here. 20 years I was out of IISc, and before that 20 years I was inside IISc. So that is the background. History, as is said, is from the point of view of who sees it. I'm going to compliment what Professor Mrityunjaya just said, but I'm going to take this opportunity, maybe all the 4.5 minutes, to recollect actually what happened before. So every history has a history. So I'm going to talk more about it because I find that not complete. In 1991, of course, I joined in 1984, the then CEDT. In 1991, a Designers Guild of India, it's a legal society, research society, was established here at IISc with permission of IISc, of course. And Bangalore was just emerging as a design city. NIFT had just started in a room. NID was a small cell. And so there were a few product designers around in Bangalore. And we thought we should all get together, and they did under my leadership here. It was nice of CEDT as well as IISc to allow us to function as a registered society of professional designers. Now, the same Designers Guild of India in 1994, it organized a national conference on design at IISc. This was in 1994. It was sponsored by AICTE and HMT, the then industry. In that conference, one of the things that came out was a need for more design schools at Bangalore. And naturally, the whole group in proceedings and all went saying, why don't CEDT, that already had a good product design laboratory or studio as it was called, and why shouldn't they take the lead at IISc? So in 1995, departments at IISc were asked to produce what's called as Vision 2000 document. Committee was headed by Professor Sonde. And from CEDT through the chairman, Professor N.J. Rao, he has played a very important role in this MDes program. I proposed a new MDes program to the Vision 2000 document. And this document, I was so happy that it was accepted by the committee, and they said that one of the programs will be in this discipline that we spoke of, because they didn't mention MDes as proper, but they meant what it was. So to me, from my side of the history, which is not contradictory to what Mr. said or anybody said, I consider this as the first official document intent and proposal at IISc to start the MDes program, because it was clearly mentioned there. Then in 1996, beginning, informal discussions on the MDes program, it was heard by all the departments, metallurgy, mechanical, everyone. And everybody was interested, the buzz was around. They started asking Professor N.J. Rao, and even had interactions with them at informal level. So what is this that everybody's speaking about? What is that vision? What is that? So for this MDes program, then, I'm talking about much before all of us came together, CEDT was the obvious choice to anchor the MDes program. But that was because it had a design studio that was doing very well. Mind you, CEDT MTech program did real nice work at that period in history. It was supported by the Swiss Development Corporation. Unfortunately, in the same vision document, CEDT said it is going ahead with embedded programs. It is going to enhance their MTech program from hardware to more VLSI sort of thing. So they were not very keen on housing a new MDes program. And at the same time, the divisional chairman in a meeting called us and spoke about the workshop being revamped. I remember it clearly. So in 1986, I approached Professor Mrityunjaya because I was his admirer, because we both used to take continuing courses at the continuing center, and I knew him as a thorough and a very good professor. So we were exchanging notes, and I said, yes, mechanical should be involved, and they must take a lead, and so on and so forth. So very happy to say that, well, he did take a lot of interest, and then he immediately said yes, and rest is history, rest is what he just enumerated. So actually in 1996, CPDM was not yet there. It was not. But the MDes program had already taken deep roots. And in 1996, I went to Switzerland on a fellowship for about 9 months, but continued to interact with Professor Mrityunjaya with the curriculum and other matters. We started formulating curriculum as we understood. In meanwhile, Professor Mrityunjaya, as I said, he went to IDC and got a lot of experience from what they did, and he said, no, we have to have a better program than them. So I agreed, yes, we need to have a program that is both emphasis on engineering as well as on all other things that were actually enigma for IISc then. IISc said, no arts, no nothing. IISc has changed tremendously from that. I heard multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary just now, that was the keywords then, and IISc has actually taken a lead in that also. So in 1996, I returned back and attended Senate meetings here when this program was being, the curriculum was being discussed, and I attended. There were many, very nice arguments, debates on this, and actually Professor Mrityunjay polished the MDes curriculum, and he did a very, very wonderful job. It was very tough to. I would not leave my part of what an MDes should be, because I was the only MDes graduate there at IISc then, and I was on the staff here. And it went on between me and him, but he did a wonderful job, and he also accommodated the metallurgy and the mechanical and all that. And yes, without all of us coming together, we would not have had this unique MDes program, which is the best in the country, and it has done a lot of accolades under the next chairs that have held this chair position. So in 1997, IISc, in the MDes program is more, sorry. Yeah, I'll wind up. I'm coming to 1997, and I won't go beyond that. Yeah, so in 1997, the MDes program actually did not have any takers in departments. There were a lot of people interested. Okay, and then the pressure, I and Professor Mrityunjay were appointed as coordinators of the program. And the program actually continued at CEDT for the first 3 batches. The 3 batches, if anybody is there, they will tell you that they completed all the 3 batches there. But going to mechanical occasionally, or coming to the central workshop, which was yet being organized. And Professor Mrityunjay again did a lot of good job for revamping the workshop. So, 3 batches have graduated, and they were entirely at CEDT. So CEDT and my colleagues here have done tremendous contribution, which is not, because of course, as much as mechanical has done it. And so I think that also needs to be noted. And without them, this program would not have taken the first 3 years, no. Because Professor Mrityunjay was switching from this end to that end, and from this campus, this department to that department, and it went on. So in 1999, CPDM infrastructure were partly, right? There was one room granted to us by the biology department, microbiology. And in that room started the first classes. By then, Professor Mrityunjay had succeeded in clearing the workshop and making it into a spick and span place. And that's where we started the program. So there were a lot of problems, a lot of discussions, very, very critical, very nice discussions. When I look back, I also learned from them a lot. That helped and produce other wonderful MDes and BDes programs for India. So you see, though I differed, there was actually only a difference of perception. And difference of perception may be threatening then, but they are very, very informative. And then, today what you see is the 25 years of the MDes program and a CPDM that had to be set up because of that. And I'm so happy to be here, and it is just the beginning, mind you. From what we have seen under Professor Chakrabarty and also Rahim, I can see what's going to happen 50 years from now. It is going to be really counted as one of the world's best. And this was also mentioned. It was a dream in my vision report when I had made this strategy report document. It's there. All these documents are there somewhere in the files. So I'm very happy to be here again after 50 years as part of this group. Thank you. I've taken 2 more minutes extra. But
Thanks, Pradeep. One of Professor Amulia Reddy's colleague for his retirement event, he paid a compliment to Professor Reddy's wife, saying that she would serve tea when the discussions were cold and lemonade when the discussions turned hot. with MDes program and CPDM, we would get tea when the discussions are cold, but we would still get tea when the discussions are also hot. So, we always had very hot discussions, and I think is one of the things that did make this whole journey very exciting and possibly unnerving for all the administrators who were there of the program at that time. But then, we have survived and we are here 25 years old now and kicking. And hopefully, we'll be good for the next 25 years as well. Let me
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So, because of one of the discussions, one day I was walking, and the then director, I won't take names, recognized, oh, you were there, huh? So that was because of this discussion, we all became very famous, and particularly me. Nobody knew me, but except for the discussion.
Okay, so let me pass it on to JD. JD has been a pillar, actually, I think, in CPDM. I'm sure he was one of the few who was from the CDT department then, and he joined CPDM, and he has been with us right from the beginning. And I would like him to say a few things.
Good evening. I think we should remember the services rendered by Professor Pradeep Yamyavar and Professor Mrityunjaya, that nucleation process which they did for bringing this. We were not associated with that nucleation process at that point of time. We joined the program once IISc said, yes, here is going to be a program, and who will be your core faculty? So that's the point when people had to really put shoulders around each other and say that, yeah, here is a team which is going to now be a core part of the whole thing. I remember the day, I think it was in Professor Mehta's room, when he asked, those who want to join CPDM, raise your hands. Those who want to stick to their own departments, lower your hands. I remember, I think Professor Satish, he raised and then lowered it, right? Okay. I think NVCR also raised and later on withdrew, no?
I was conscripted, I didn't volunteer.
Okay. So many of us raised our hands and then because at that time we were part of some other departments. Now it's a conscious decision of shifting your allegiance to another department where the core activity is going to be slightly different from what you have been continuously doing in the Center for Electronics Design and Technology, because we are going to talk about design in general, so not necessarily towards electronic products. So that's where the decision came. Being a mechanical engineer, I thought that I can play a better role here, and then I joined. And I remember the initial few years, it was mainly organizing the place. Okay, that was one of the initial tasks that was entrusted on me. And that time I came to really see, because I had not entered the central workshop before. Before that, even though I was in the campus for so many years, it was a kind of a fortress. I don't think anyone could easily walk out into the central workshop just like that unless he has a valid drawing and work to be carried out by them. They had that industrial setup, but somehow after that small decline in the, I think, demand for their services, I think Institute did a very wise decision to bring a change in that place, to utilize them, at the same time have another academic program going to that, and many of us who joined there had to do the job of, with a little bit of tears, to throw away things that were being used inside that. Okay, as mechanical engineers, we felt really sorry to see. I still remember one of those machines, which is the radial drilling machine, which was a very, very huge machine, which was made by SMT, I think. Okay, and then the Hauser jig boring machine, which was there in an AC room, and then the metrology lab that has to be dismantled. So things. Yes. So initially it was a little bit heartbreaking to see that they are going out of foundations and then shoved into the lorries, okay, lifting in the cranes, but we had to organize that and we did it. But as you know, real estate is always a problem. That means how will you find the place? You have found persons, then you have to accommodate them. Then accommodate them suitably well with their labs established. So these were somehow carried out with the help of all our colleagues for a year who are working in the workshop, and others who guided us to do this job. And I think after 2 years' time, we are sufficiently having enough space for all of us. And you know the later developments that came in. So I thoroughly enjoyed my stay in CPDM with all its restrictions and constraints, because it was a work, it was a place with a lot of interactions with students, because every time, every batch had to produce products, be it prototypes or be it really working. So we had to have discussions and discussions on the products, and that goes on and on in terms of how to make it, how to design it, how to bring it out well. Okay, so I didn't really realize that suddenly one day somebody said that yes, 2015 has come and you have to move out of this place because you are 65 now. Okay, so then I moved out, but still I'm continuing with doing some of the jobs with SID. So it was a very good experience for me, and slowly coming to the research areas that are associated with that. It was not always a ride of pleasant nature. Okay, there was always ups and downs with the students, and then things were being sorted out. So I was interacting as an ombudsman between the so-called aggravated students and the staff. Okay, so things were settled nicely. I think it's now all minimized and things are fine and good. So I wish that all the celebrations to follow will have a very good time, so that students will be really enjoying it and participating in a big level. Thank you very much.
Hello. Hello.
Minimize your jokes.
See, I was always thought of as the comic relief in the otherwise very serious course. Okay, that apart, I had 10 years experience in Bharat Electronics. I'm a, mechanical engineer who was working in electronics. So, in 84, both of us ended up in this place. But I forgot that in 1972, he was also in IIT Madras, it seems. I was also there. Fortunately, we didn't meet. So, you live long. Now, this apart, when Pradeep suggested that we need this design and all that, I was a person who was very familiar with actual fabrication and all that. So, I was in charge of the workshop in CDT. And don't hold it against me, I'm also an MBA from IIM Bangalore. So, the management courses, including what is called product planning and marketing, later on product planning and product management, thanks to Pradeep, I handled that course for a very long time. And in between, sometime in 2000, I think, no, 2002, casually one day I decided, why don't I write a paper? I did not know where to send it. It was something about designer genes. And it was accepted and printed in what is called Design Research Society, probably one of the early papers in that. And soon I came to know Professor Amrish Chakrabarty is deeply involved in this design research. And what started as a small loose pieces here and all that, after he came, suddenly there is an explosion. I could never imagine that things can be taken to the highest abstraction like this, saying design research itself is going to be a big thing. MDes, while MDes is not subservient to that, while this is concentrated on making products and all that, he has taken it to the pure research side. And it's really, I'm amazed at Professor Chakrabarty's energy of taking this to such a very high level. As he says, in around 2015, I and Divakar both were said enough. Now you can live, you have contributed enough and all that. And I still managed to, hang on in CDT and continue. You must have all heard of IITM NPTEL courses. So some 6 of the courses are recorded and they're being given out. All of them have the focus of saying, make an electronic product and how to package it like this. And only in CPDM, first time, like what he explained, saying, design is not about implementing one instance of something, but you need to optimize it. This part, I got it very well, Professor, from all our faculty, including especially this, think about CAD, CAM, and whole thing of analysis. Professor Gosal and our, what do you call, I always call him, sir, what shall I describe you now? The man from CMU or IISc professor? So, I mean, anything about what you call solid modeling, next to Zaid, he wrote the book about it. And even, I think, has a, what do you call, some enterprise running on it. I'm really thrilled to see, while all other departments, the thing has a set of things people try to implement and all that. CPDM are ready to take on anything. Like when they said architecture is going to be, one of the items, two very important, students came and they made a transportable, collapsible, some shed-like thing. It is 25 years ahead of time. And now, as he says, stop the jokes now. One of them, saying, they're going to appoint a lot of faculty in CPDM. Probably this is going to be faculty housing. You better watch out. It was excellent. I think you remember, no? Mageswari, it was called, Maggie it was called. And the final thing, I'll just stop now. Then we had this saying, is management better or is engineering better or anything? That girl who made it, I think when Mageswari was there, she went and married an IIM Ahmedabad guy. So now you know where we stand. I think they've all emigrated all the way to, they're somewhere in Singapore or somewhere. Now I'll stop it here. While the MDes program is very good and visible, it is slightly different from all other design implementations elsewhere in the country. This is the only place where thorough, full analysis is done. Meaning, instead of randomly looking at something and taking a shape of it, and that's where I think Professor Gosal and we used to have very, loud organized things saying, don't make it into a Camlin painting competition. There's something more to design other than things like that. And any student who has passed through our, CPDM, I think is very uniquely positioned, saying he will take on any of the projects without any problem. Now, the next corollary to this is that the research program has really caught on in a very, very unbelievably, large area. So I'm in a way extremely happy. I think I'll stop. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry I have to cut everybody off, but since he gave the cue to Gosal, so I'll pass it on.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. So this is a very, very unique occasion. 25 years is a long time. Okay, so I was here in the beginning, okay, as you say. So it's a very interesting program, as Professor NVC Rao has said, that it is a mixture of not only sketching but also serious analysis, serious modeling, serious fabrication. So one of the participants online, Santanu Pal, is he still there? Okay. So he was one of the first batch students. Maybe he remembers me, but at least I remember him, because we were one of the first batches of students who did actually a very nice product. So for example, he did work on a foldable bicycle. So you could fold the bicycle and carry it in your car or carry it in a bus. So it set the tone that we would like serious analysis, serious design, and also manufacturing. So I think with that I will stop. It's a very nice program. It's very well known everywhere in the country, specifically because of this mix of modeling, analysis, and manufacturing. And I have a few more years to go, so hopefully we'll see some more nice products coming out. Thank you.
So okay, we'll give it to Javan first, but let me just ask Anindya to please take a last seat here. Yeah, you can come and have a seat here. We don't like you standing there. Yeah, come. Yeah. Come, have a seat. Ready, come. So I just wanted to say something about the first batch. There was a time around the placement time somebody had asked, what do you want MDes students to be, right? And we had said rather flippantly at that time that we are teaching you everything in the product design spectrum, from form to function, so that you can run your own enterprises. And I'm very happy that in the first batch, right, two of our students, alumni, actually did follow that path, and I would say reasonably successfully. Ratanjit may disagree with me, but he is one of them, and he's been running companies right from the days he quit GE, I think. And Ravi is another person who has been remarkably successful in the medical device area in Ahmedabad, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's very encouraging. And I would also like to mention that some of our first batch students have become leading designers in the country. Saurabh probably heads Maruti, and I don't know others who are here. Maybe there is another slot for them to speak about that. So I'll hold on, and while I hand it over to Jayvan for this.
Thank you. So as it's already been mentioned, we were among the first faculty to start the program, and I think I was other end of the spectrum compared to Pradeep. I didn't think the soft design was really necessary. But over the years, I've learned that both aspects are equally important. And for example, this bottle, how it is shaped is equally important as compared to whether it's functional or not. And I remember also in setting the syllabus that I insisted that fluid mechanics, heat transfer and solid mechanics be there in the syllabus because it is important for design finally. And I've learned a lot because I had to teach architects who didn't know calculus. And I had to start with the free body diagram, and then finally I had to teach them boundary layer theory. And it so happened that I was teaching fluid mechanics in the mechanical engineering department and this course in CPDM. And many of the answers which came out from the architects on core concepts were better than the mechanical engineering students. And that probably tells you that they hadn't learned anything and they didn't have to unlearn something. So anyway, it's been a great experience, learning experience for me over the years. And a couple of things I just want to mention is the way CPDM started was because of the vision of Professor PSM and Pradeep. But it takes more than vision to get it to fructify, and I think it needs the support of the administrators and like Professor Padmanabhan and the divisional chairman, etc. at that time to put in place this program. And of course it's reached great heights because of the successive faculty which have joined. So there used to be initially I remember we used to have two categories. One is the core faculty and the other is the coreless faculty. So we were the coreless faculty, and many times the faculty meetings were more with coreless than core. So anyway, but now I'm happy that the core faculty's strength is very large and they have taken over, and I think with the people like Amresh, there is a lot of dynamism in the department which will take it to new paths and new heights. And I think one thing which I should mention is that a lot of the ideas which like the MDes projects could have been productized, and that is one of the laments I have, that we haven't seen them turning into products. I think something should be done to correct that mistake in some sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayvan. Well, the remark about core and coreless, I was holding it for the discussion when CPDM began. And there is also a queue for Satish to join, but I'm going to not give it to him now. Is there a way that Mary can speak, Vishal? Is she going to be able to speak? Yeah. So Mary Matthew is oceans across from us now, but she was with us right in the beginning. So we will hand it over to Mary. Hello, Mary. Yeah, all yours.
Thank you, Guru. So I think I come from the coreless faculty category as such, right? Can I? Are you hearing me?
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this invite, and I want to congratulate CPDM for this Silver Jubilee. It's amazing. I think I was a part of the early journey, and in the early days, I remember when Professor Murthanjaya invited me, he wanted me to sort of teach the course of design management. Coming from the management faculty, it was kind of new to me, and most of my background, research and teaching, was with organizational design, organizational behavior for R&D management, and intellectual property management. And with this background, initially when Professor Mutanjaya asked me to teach design management, he told me clearly, don't make it theoretical. It is a 3-credit course, but make sure you're doing a learning by doing kind of a thing so that students are involved in understanding what it is hands-on as such. And I was fortunate at that time because the chair of the department was Professor N.J. Rao, who came from CEDT, and you heard his name being mentioned a few times already in his speeches. And NJ was very particular about lab-based teaching. And it was something that, you know, he was quite experienced even in the human behavior side, because I know he has gone through C groups and things like that abroad. And that's so I tried to introduce that mode of teaching with CPDM initially, and it was more to do with behaviors of how a designer understood the client's needs. And we did a lot of role plays and theater and stuff like that, and introduced certain theories for students to understand human behavior sides of the whole design space. And as I got into the department's activities, especially with recruitment, project evaluations, and such, I understood what they were doing much more, I mean, it became a bit more clearer. And that's when I started introducing other kinds of aspects, and especially the term of design planning, which came more or less from business planning at that mode of understanding how to do the processes. But I introduced certain steps I thought that from the business side, the design students needed to know, and I introduced design planning as they were steps and processes that they follow well before the first prototype could be even imagined. So there were many things to be done prior to that, what I used to introduce in that part of the course. And then with my work at the IISc on intellectual property, I started introducing also into the course how the whole protection system works with design protection on the Indian Patent Office, and steps were very well outlined in the Indian Patent Office as to how to go about protections and stuff. And based on my research, because what we found with students in my research is that the way India did R&D was very different from, say, how America did R&D. One of the aspects where we were different was that we needed to do more of prior art analysis, something that the American R&D did a lot more of. And so I introduced a lot of prior art search and design prior art search to the whole process. And then, so that became a part of the course. So my course actually evolved, and there was a journey by which it sort of, strengthened itself. And I gave them input as and when I thought was needed based on their needs as students. And so this was a course I took for many years at CPDM, and I think it was received well. And the other aspect I thought I'll just leave here before I kind of stop is to say that if I was still teaching and I was doing something more, I think I would introduce a bit more of the concepts that are important for product design that came from the entrepreneurship space. Like we have so much of business canvas that came from entrepreneurship, but however, business canvas is a much more improved version which is relevant for both Canada as well as India. I would think Lean Canvas. Ash Maurya is Lean Canvas, and if students, of course, Google Lean Canvas, they'll realize why I'm saying that. And there's one phase which Ash talks a lot about, which is customer discovery and the problem interview. Again, that is something that is important, I would say, well before a product prototype is even imagined. And a couple of other things that I'm going to leave, because these are things that I learned a lot in my last few years when I had to pivot so much in what I was trying to do, is the whole concept of JCBD, jobs to be done framework of Christensen. It's an old one, but it is becoming much more relevant in product design today. And although I was a stage gate person so much in my, my work, that is a concept that Professor Cooper introduced from Master University. Today I noticed that most of the product design field prefer to use scrums. And that is again another thing. But I think the last point I wanted to leave here is what I've learned over time here is that they are interested in you bringing to them a paying customer even before you actually start off and doing a startup and things like that. So a startup is not even funded unless they have a paying customer with them as such. And so between the customer and the startup people is where they sort of evolve the company. And so bringing in a paying customer early into the concept is something which is I find a trick of success story. And I'll just stop there and I'll leave some of these thoughts with you. Thank you so much and congrats again.
Thanks very much, Mary. Yeah. So JD mentioned that Satish put his hand up and put it down. Actually, I must say in his defense that he didn't put it down. Vijay asked him to put it down. So Vijay said you better not go from here. And but Satish has been a very integral part of the center, and he's been very passionate about the development of the center. And so,
thank you, Guru. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
For us, it is evening here. So, yeah, I mean, see, one thing when you do product design, it should be everlasting. And the second thing is you should not infringe on patents. The everlasting part of it I learned from Mrityunjaya, professor, during my time also, and when I was an ME student here. And later on when he told me the meaning of his word, that is victory over death, Mrityunjaya. So Professor Padmanabhan, you told you are getting old, don't worry, you sat next to him, so you have become younger. And the second part of it is patent. The core and coreless was my patent, he stole it. Understand, sir? But I have been in this journey with CPDM. In fact, I was told I was selected as a faculty to teach in CPDM, and so was Dibakar a few months after me. And when Professor Godhan Mehta asked who wants to be the core faculty, I immediately lifted my hand. And many people after that lifted their hands, and then finally I slipped out. And I continued in mechanical for various reasons. But the interesting thing about CPDM that I was introduced was the aesthetics part of the whole thing. It was something very difficult to comprehend because the whole life you have been taught only objective. And subjective things were very difficult, including Professor M.R. Raghavan's wonderful course on creative engineering design. Somehow, almost everybody in the class could not comprehend the importance of that course. But later on in life you realize, yes, that is a very important part, subjective part of doing things. And that's something that I was introduced in CPDM, and there was a huge war, you can say virtually battle between the aesthetics and the objective people, And Professor Mrityunjaya was in between that. And he stuck to the stand that we will go by 50 aesthetics and 50 this thing. Pradeep Yamyavar sir was strong aesthetics. He was so upset that two students, that Sureka and Maheshwari, who built that home, they got introduced to aluminium by taking a project with me, and they made aluminium foam. And Pradeep Yamyavar was livid. What is this product design? Nonsense. And virtually he would have killed me if he had given him a knife and told murder is not a crime. And then started our research program. So, but slowly getting involved in this thing was interesting, and it changed your mindset also. It keeps things open in your mind, and I think that's a very important aspect in life. Then started the research program. For a few, what you call semesters or years, I think 2.5 years, CPDM was selecting their research students. They didn't have a research program. They started a research program with being a part of the mechanical thing. And in one of the interviews, Anindya Chatterjee was a very serious analytical man, was asking a student a question on and going into differential equations, slowly going to partial differential equations kind of thing. And suddenly Amresh takes a paperweight and asks, what are the 5 uses of this paperweight? Amresh, I mean, Anindya was very angry, you know, why you're taking all the spirit away from my intense questions. And he said, one of the uses I have, I can hit you with the head on this. You know? So that was the dichotomy that was there. And the first time I have seen Bengalis fighting outside the state. Generally the fights are inside the state. And so this journey went on, a beautiful journey. That I am happy that I was being a big part of it. And materials was a subject which many people in mechanical don't like, and more people in CPDM don't like, because the architecture people simply could not appreciate why dislocation should move or things like that. And of course, Ratanjit also didn't appreciate it. Yet Ratanjit, he told me, what is this train rate nonsense you're teaching us, you know? But I don't know whether he found it useful, ever useful in life. But that part of it has been there, and it's also taken the course a different direction, which now NVCR and Anindya Dev were handling. We took a course in a different direction. I'm happy that I was teaching this course in CPDM. So thanks to CPDM to make me a more open man, of course, more bald. And I do think that in 25 years, CPDM has achieved a lot, and it will be a Mrityunjaya department. Conquered, so we can wait for 100 years or 150 years, because this is a never ending thing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Satish. Yeah, like you said, now you know why our meetings are all very lively, and why he turned grey prematurely, right? There's one more thing I just wanted to say. You might have heard Amresh mention it in the introduction to the CPDM to the new students, but there are others here. The creative engineering course that Professor TSM mentioned was taught by Professor Raghavan, right? Is perhaps, and I think probably, I can say strongly, is the longest running, design course in the world. Professor Mrityunjaya took it from Professor Raghavan, and then Amresh is now teaching it, and hopefully, it will continue beyond Amresh as well. So that is something that I think is unique about IISc and CPDM's connection to design. Satish mentioned about the faculty hired exclusively for this program. Dibakar was the first one. Of course, it didn't pan out exactly the same way as everybody thought it would, but all is well. Second one, yeah, sorry. All is well that ends well, though.
It was I completed my PhD in 96 December. Joined a software company with introduction from Professor Gurumurthy, right? And he was not very unhappy about it. The day I'm joining, means getting into the train to go to Delhi to join the company, one advertisement came in newspaper that IISc is hiring. And Professor Mrityunjaya told me, IISc never hires by publication in the newspaper, right? And I do not know when it will publish again. So if you want, you can apply. He said, I don't have any experience, will take me. Right? He said, okay, so you apply. Okay, are you interested? I said, definitely interested, we apply. So I'm one of the ISRO colleague, got a copy of the newspaper and gave it to me. I applied through email from United States. Okay, and then that is the introduction of getting introduced to there. Now, how do I apply? This is a product design. At that time, I don't know what is the product. I'm a kinematician, doing some programming, right? Now you have to do product design. So I did some study and found that, okay, it involves drawing, painting, all these things. Okay, I can do drawing, painting. Okay, so I applied with a statement of what courses I'll teach and things like that, not having much confidence. And joined in mechanical engineering when I got selected in 98 January. I was running a course on advanced mechanism design through Center for Continuing Studies. And in the middle of the lecture that I'm giving, one person comes and gives me a check that I am immediately required. So I was told that I have been volunteered to join CPDM. And I still did not complete my 1 year term. If I disagree, I might get, completely discontinue. I agreed. Okay, I'll teach in CPDM. So that is the way I became part of that at the teaching faculty. But I did not know how to teach any subject. I did not know the subjects are unfamiliar. I asked Professor Mrityunjaya, what subject can I teach? He said, whichever subject you think you can teach. Which subject I'll be able to teach, how do I know? So at that time I must agree and tell to you that Pradeep Yamevar was teaching a large number of courses. I think not less than 6 courses for MDes, and he was continuously interacting with the students, so he was getting overstressed. Professor Mrityunjaya told me that at least you have to give some relief to him. I started attending his class and figured out that ergonomics is some subject which at least I can teach something. Okay, so one subject was relief from him, and I started teaching that. And after 1 or 2 years, Professor Mrityunjaya told, why don't you teach some mechanisms course? Okay, so which was my core competence, such that I don't crib much. So I started teaching that, and that is how one side of my entry into this course. And like any design, everybody knows what is design, but everybody has a personal definition of design. We also have that. But what I find main difference that through which the CPDM has gone through is our understanding about the core functionality of what a design program should deliver. Main difference, I'm in both in mechanical as well as CPDM. In all other departments, a faculty continues to do whatever he knows best, even better. So his own expertise is the central to his activity. But when in the MDes program I came, our endeavor was to create best students who are designers. Irrespective of my competence, irrespective of my abilities, we put our head to put the well-being of the students and what they'll be after they pass out, right? Focus was how do they make a product that works. After 4 or 5 years, right, someone visited us, they questioned, if you have done such a good thing, why don't I see it in the marketplace? Right? It was not a strange question by today's standard, but at that time it was a very strange question. As such, I'm taking any branch of engineering and architect and making them doing a product which works, and now you're even asking that to see in the marketplace? Okay, I did not say that, but we thought that that is a good thing. We never had an idea of patenting and all. Okay, so after that we started thinking about those things, and that's how the teaching, then making it appropriate for the marketplace and making them start their own companies became one part of our advice to the students, a part of our endeavor, and new courses have been introduced towards that end also. I feel that way the genesis of the department, starting from a vague understanding of what shall we teach, to what the students should be, to how the students will contribute to the society. It is a great change I have seen in the development of the department through the, not only in terms of the scale, but also in terms of the quality of the program. This is the first 25th celebration of the design program, so I thought that much should be pursued. Thank you.
Thanks, Dibakar. So, just like faculty meetings, you worry when Satish shows up in the faculty meeting, right? Likewise, students would worry if Dibakar shows up in the student presentations. Both JD and Dibakar, I think, have been our flag bearers insofar as jury duties go. And I don't think they can, anybody can grill a design project better than these two gentlemen. So, while the students may or may not enjoy it by the time they're doing it, but I'm sure they appreciate it once they get out. They will appreciate the kind of grilling they get. MDes, actually, we sort of got him from the workshop, right? He joined us from the workshop. So, go ahead.
Sir, good evening to everybody. When I joined in 1997, in January 15, at that time, it is a central workshop. And there is no MDes program, there is no CPDM. In August, in July, I think Professor TSM was took as a chairman. Then I think this MDes program was started. My first job is from TSM is to create the facilities for various faculties. The whole building is a workshop. Foundry one side, carpentry one side, machine shop one side. Then after that, I created, I think I helped for all the faculties to creation of the labs. Then after that, maybe 1 or 2 years, our Professor TSM, why don't you register for your PhD? Then at that time there is no research program in our department. Then he has discussed with the ME department, can we help him? I think Goshal was the maybe in charge chairman. He has signed my papers. Then after that, Professor Anand has agreed to guide to do PhD in his guidance. Then I think I have to thankful to him. And after that, Professor Gurmurthy, he has given a lot of responsibility to discuss with maybe students, and you mingle with research programs, then you attend interviews and research interviews and also tech interviews. Then slowly I get into all these things. Now I am happy being faculty with senior colleagues. Thank you.
So as Satish corrected me, he was the first guy to be possibly hired for the MDes program, and Dibakar the second. Again, this is a story we are jumping a bit, but I think you should know this, that the first person to be hired in CPDM as a faculty was Ananya Dev, and I guess one of the problems of being first guys to be hired in the department was that there were no facilities that we could offer it. Nowadays faculty walk into reasonably good infrastructure, but then he had to create everything himself. So, a few words from you, Ananya.
Thank you. So I think it is a great privilege for me to be part of this August gathering. And please pardon me that I am still, did not have a real encounter with the SARS coronavirus. So I thought that still let me put on my mask. I hope you can hear me without any difficulty. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. So thanks to Professor Gurumurthy again. And just I would like to, I know that we are kind of at the brink of, I think, finishing this session. And you would be more eager to go for the high tea.
No, there's one more session after that. So
oh,
please.
there is another session after that.
Everybody stay. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So then there is no problem. But in any case, what I would like to point out is that although I am sitting in the fringe here, so as Professor Gurumurthy pointed out, that I am probably really the real core faculty and not a pseudo core faculty of CPDM, because as he already mentioned, that I was the first person to be hired exclusively for CPDM. And the credit for this goes to this remarkable person named Professor T.S. Mrityunjaya. And so he was able to actually snatch me and from another place, literally, because I had at that time an offer from IIT Delhi in applied mechanics to join there. And he actually, I still remember, I came and met him, and at that time he was I just came for a visit to IISc, because everybody advised me that before joining IIT Delhi, you should at least go and see IISc once. So I thought of doing so, and I remembered that, I met professors in civil engineering department, in mechanical engineering department, like Professor Session, then some others, And they actually directed me to Professor Mrityunjaya. At that time, he was the chairman of Center for Continuing Education, if I am not mistaken. So I still remember that day when I went and met him, and how he persuaded me to apply to IISc, and in particular to CPDM. And he told me that my industry, because I was working with Ford at that time, in Ford Motor Company in USA. And he told me that I was having the most relevant background to, work in CPDM. So anyhow, that was the kind of a turning point, I should say, in my life. And then I went back and applied, and then eventually I got the offer and joined here. And then, my struggle in a way started. And, but, it was quite, I should say that, I overcame all these challenges at that time. And Professor Professor Mrityunjay also told me that how excited the students of CPDM are in taking or learning about vehicle design. So after coming here, I used to stay up till 2-3 a.m. at night to prepare for this new course on design of automotive systems, which virtually I have been teaching, in an uninterrupted manner for almost last, say, 19 to 20 years. And also we did some remarkable things in the sense that in terms of these MDes design projects. So sometimes we think that as time goes on, we tend to do things which are more advanced and probably more significant. But from my experience in life, I found that just like, some of these great scientists who are legends, and we do not seem to have such people, in our time. So probably the MDes project that I guided in 2002, which was on this lightweight aluminum intensive space frame car design. So that stands out as the most significant contribution of MDes students whom I have guided. And from that vehicle, we came up with a number of more electric vehicles, lightweight vehicles, including this mail van. And I agree with Professor Jayavant Tarakiri, who mentioned that we need to take some of these things into reality, that of course we need to do. But today what Tesla is doing, in all humbleness, I would still say that what we did and patented in 2000, say around 2002, 2003 time frame, if we compare, you will find that our vehicle is kind of almost similar to what Tesla is doing today. In terms of making vehicles lightweight, in terms of having a front-wheel drive vehicle, all these aspects. And I should also thank some of our, remarkable, technicians in the workshop, CPDM workshop, like Mr. Sigbatullah, who is sitting here, who played a very active role in that mail van design, fabrication, and many others here. Mr. Many of them, Mr. John, and then, all of you, right? So Mr. Sarvanan and Mr. Prasad, Mr. Ganganna. Sorry if I'm missing anybody's name here. But there is another remarkable person, Mr. Yaganathan. And I would like to, pay homage to him that he was a person of such exceptional talent and ability. And today he is not with us anymore, So about 1 year or 2 years back, he passed away. And just one more thing I would like to mention regarding this research program in IISc. So as mentioned by, Professor Chalpati Rao, that, this research program has been championed by Professor Chakraborty, and there is no doubt about it, because he has done an extraordinary job. But I would like to just, acknowledge the, the pillar of our department since Professor Mrityunjay left, that Professor Gurumurthy has been. And I think you will also agree I still remember in one of the meetings when Professor Gurumurthy said that, Amaresh, why don't you organize a conference in research, So, his contributions are there behind the scenes in many things. And of course, Professor J.D. Walker, Professor E.M.E. and Professor Satish Kailas, Professor Ghoshal, all are very remarkable colleagues of mine. And our students also have really seen us through this very interesting journey. And so with all these things, I feel that CPDM will continue to grow and become one of the leading, design departments in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. So I think it's time to sort of close this panel. I think everybody has been heard. Bernie Roth, Professor Ghoshal's supervisor, used to say, actually he said it when he came to CPDM once, that, designers must have an attitude. Not to have an attitude is also an attitude, but designers must have an attitude, right? So students have attitude, it is okay, you can always tell them off because they're your students. The problem comes when faculty start having attitudes, but that's what makes the CPDM interesting. And I hope that we will develop a very well-defined ideology that defends this attitude that we have in the next 25 years. So more power to CPDM. Thank you all very much for your views, comments, and thoughts. And I hand it over to the organizers for the next event. Thank you very much. You can all step down and whatever is the next event. No. He was waving at Mary, I thought. There you go.
Hi, Goshal. Hi, Goshal.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
This is Akbar.
So I think we'll swiftly move on to the second
I
panel.
think the thing is muted.
Which is between
Vishal's
us
thing is
and
muted.
IT. So,
The thing is muted.
please
sir.
take your seats.
Professor,
And,
the laptop is muted.
I would like to ask Professor Vishal Singh, an MDes from CPDM and also a faculty now at CPDM, to take over.
Hi, Mary.
How are you?
To
You looking
coordinate
nice?
this second panel, which is
Yes, I can
between
hear you.
the first year batch of students
Nice.
and also the founding members of staff. So I would like him to call up on stage all the founding members of staff. Let me just get started. I think Mr. Sivatullah, please come on stage. Come. Mr. John, please come on stage. Mr. Bernard is there, please come. Mr. Gangannath, there. Ms. Ranganaki. Madam Ranganaki. Okay. Madam Elizabeth. They were there earlier. And am I missing somebody from the staff side? Please come. Yeah, Bernard is coming. Yeah. Have I missed out anybody from the staff side? Founding staff. Those who were there at the time when the MDes program started. Mr. Tegi, please come. Okay, is there anybody I have missed out from the staff side? Okay, then from the student side, Mr. Saurabh Singh, I saw him. Yeah, please come. Please come on stage. Professor Vishal, please come. I mean, you are only a coordinator. I know that you are not a founding member, but somebody had to hold the mic and make sure that everybody speaks. Ratanji, please come. And we have we missed out any founding students, first year students? They're all there, okay. And I think, Vishal, you need to introduce them. Yeah. So, Vishal is going to introduce them. I think Mr. Shantanu Pal is there, and Mr. Akbar is there, and Amit Banerjee, and one more, right? Shahnawaz. Yeah, Shahnawaz is there. Yeah. Who is PP? That's the student. Okay, please come. Please come and take over. I think we should take about half an hour. I think that's reasonable. I think it's a much smaller panel. Please come.
All right, so thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm a junior, and also joined as a faculty only last 2 years. So I think I've seen a lot of people and worked with many when I was a student here. So I'll probably get started. So I'll maybe start with, where's the other mic? Okay, we can take this one. Okay, yeah, please go ahead. Okay, so maybe we can start with Mr. John, and please share your experiences of CPDM right from the beginning, and if you can talk about what it has meant for you in terms of your career and your experiences also with the faculty and the students.
So my stay here was very pleasant because I got a chance to learn from the students and professors. So when I was working with the students, they used to speak to me like a friend. So I also felt these people are really good, so I can learn from them. So I have to thank everybody for the chance of getting support from everybody. Thank you very much.
हेलो, मेरा नाम सैयद से बोतला है। मैं तो ज़्यादा इंग्लिश में बात नहीं कर सकता और हिंदी में बात कर रहा हूँ। जब से मैं इंस्टीट्यूट को आया, बहुत से बातों में सीखा हूँ। बाहर जो कम थोड़ा थोड़ा था सीखा था, मगर इधर आके बहुत सीखा हूँ। स्पेशली प्रोफेसर गुरुमूर्ति मुझे बहुत इनकरेज करे और जाते से वक्त, रिटायर्ड होते से वक्त तुम्हारा देख के, तुम्हारे फैमिली का देख के तुम रिटायर्ड हो गए हैं, आराम से घर में रहने दो करके बोले हैं। वैसे ही मैं चल रहा हूँ। मुझे भी बहुत अच्छा है, अभी तक मेरा हेल्थी भी अच्छा है, सब कुछ अच्छा है। बहुत शुक्रिया।
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನಗೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನ ಸರ್ವೀಸು 36 ವರ್ಷ CPDM ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ ಆದ. ME ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪಿಂದ CPDM ಆಯಿತು. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಸರ್ವೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಲಿ, ನನ್ನ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಲಿ, ಇದು ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Good evening to all. I am Tegi. I served 36 years in IISc. I joined in 1973. Previously it was Central Workshop under Mechanical Department. Then we used to do the equipments for students and all, for all the department students. Later on, so they just have changed. Then we heard all the history of, we heard all the history of CPDM, how it has come up and carried on about 25 years. So afterwards, Professor Mutunjaya and with his colleagues, then Professor BGM, so many people put a lot of efforts and they started and made a good name. So it is very fortunate to me to work in this department, IISc and all. After my retirement, some people have called me because of IISc experience. I worked under MDes students, MTech and PhD students as a foreman and as a junior foreman. Then some engineering college people called me to take lab in charge and all. So I worked in CTSI Engineering College. Afterwards, they took me Impact Engineering College. So I worked 10 years there for mechanical labs, all labs, hydraulics labs, pneumatics labs, machine labs, foundry, and machine shops and all. So people are very happy and students also very happy. So it is very essential for me to say this word. IISc means that great value is there. When, oh, this person is from IISc. He worked in mechanical department and as well as in design department, MDes course and CPDM department and all. So I used to give a lot of respect and because of all the charge from the professors, I worked under them, it is very lucky. So thank you very much.
Okay, before Mr. Saurav starts, I think the workshop people have been very efficient with their words as they were in the workshop. So now, yeah, please. Right, so what I was saying is that they were as efficient with their words as they were in the workshops. So now the ball is in the court of the MDes students, especially the first batch to now. We had a 35 minute panel. So I hope that, and this is about MDes, so I hope that we'll have a lot of stories coming from your experience as students and after that. And of course we have people that we'll hear from online as well. So please.
I'll
say first of all, it's a great honor, really great honor to be like witnessing this event. I just landed.
If you can introduce yourself.
Okay, fine. So hi, I'm Saurabh Singh. I'm from the 97-99 bricklayers batch, we call, laying the bricks along with our guiding mentors, seniors, faculty, and I think yes, we were Sohal and yes, my friends who are there online, from the 97-99 batch, and really exciting journey we had. And after that, yes, I got a campus placement from IISc. I was in Punjab Tractors, Swaraj, Mazda. I was doing commercial vehicle, buses, tractors, farm equipment for around 3 years, 3 years, close to 3 years. And in 2003, I moved to Maruti Suzuki. Yes, and currently I'm HOD, Head of Design in Maruti Suzuki India. Yeah. So that's my journey. Journey has been exciting, but I think being here is amazing. This feeling, as I said, I just landed in Bangalore at 5:15, and I was not sure if I'll make it. I came to know about this event, and just by chance there was this meeting also tomorrow that I had to attend in Bangalore. So I somehow managed, and I'm so lucky that I am here in front of all my mentors, all my seniors and faculty and staff, and obviously the fresh, the future of CPDM, all the youngsters who are around. So it's a great honor. First of all, a great honor to be here and sitting here, sir, and actually addressing to you. It really feels so nice and special. The journey for us, for me personally, I'll say about myself, has been super exciting. I'll tell you one thing. Like 2 weeks back, I have a daughter. She's 11-year-old. And I was talking to her, and she was saying that, Papa, I've been watching this series, Rocket Boys. And there's a lot of discussion on IISc, and I heard that, obviously she doesn't know that well, but she knows, okay, I think, yeah, you also studied in IISc. And I really want to go and see that institute. And she was really excited, and, before that, as a kid, you keep hearing a lot of things and a lot of names and some global names. But when she heard about IISc and when she's watching this series, and obviously the stories that afterward we were discussing, and she was so impressed that, no, Baba, I have to go to see the institute and, see the legacy this institute carries, and there's so much that is happening there. And I told her, yes, I have some amazing memories in this place, and, where I studied, and it's a great honor to be back here, and, it always feels great. Today is even a special day. I think I'll share one interesting memory I have at IISc. When I joined as a very passionate automobile designer. I'm sure there are people who have different passions, and the person sitting next to me was my biggest enemy. Friendly enemy, and we always used to fight. For him, he said design has no meaning, sorry, not meaning means, he said design is always functional, it has to function. And for me, emotion was always high. I said design has to be emotional first and functional second. Or he always said it has to be functional first and emotional second. And we always used to argue to the extent that, once we were working on a three-wheeled, my final project was a three-wheeled EV light frame. We build a vehicle, this people carrier, public carrier. And for that, he always used to tease me. He said, 3 wheels can never be stable. Remember, we used to have a lot of.
He had the audacity to actually prove that 3-wheelers are more stable than 4-wheelers, and I just don't know how he did. I mean, it's so unbelievable.
We always had this fight. So I came as a very passionate automobile designer. I always wanted to design cars. So I'll say initial couple of months were slightly tough, because as a youngster, when you join such a big institute with so much of legacy, knowledge, wisdom, professors, there's overwhelming feeling, there's so much of knowledge flowing around you. Knowledge was fine, but somehow I was missing that, that craziness that I was looking for in terms of creative drive. And I remember Professor Yamiyavar. So I met him, and he obviously was one of the founding members for the course, and he always used to tell me, okay, don't worry, follow your heart and follow your passion. And Professor Mrityunjay, he always kind of put the right balance perspective. He used to have a lot of meetings, discussion, what is first? creativity or not, we used to call it aesthetics. Aesthetics is first or function is first, form is first or function is first. And a lot of debates we used to have, and I can tell you that the faculty sitting here, even at that time, even when the course was being set and a lot of structure was there, still there was so much of openness and there was so much of a dialogue we used to have. Even we were freshers, we were just entering MDes first year program, first 6 months, not knowing much, coming out of a fancy engineering backgrounds or whatever we knew that time. But into design, we found this beautiful open dialogue in this place, where we could talk to faculty, we could have meetings, discussions, very healthy. That was really healthy, and that really, I think, put the right level of push and pull and friction, which gave us the drive. So I was driven that I have to prove a point. Aesthetics is important. So we used to, daytime we used to work what he loved most, a lot of functional based things. And in the night, in the workshops, thanks to, I think, honestly, I'm missing the faces, but I know that we work together. And with support of the workshop staff, we used to make, at least I personally used to make foam models and styrofoam models and, acrylic models of cars and whatever I used to love. So my project actually worked in two fronts. One where Professor Martinja, he had given me targets, Saurabh, it has to work. So I had to prove something, and also to Sohal that, yes, it can be stable. So we made a complete chassis, and thanks to staff here, we made a chassis under the guidance. Professor BGM also supported us a lot at that time. We used to go to mechanical department in his cabin and discuss with him about some possible combinations of suspension and what can be done. Professor Divaga used to help us in electronics, and I remember that time, but yes, so finally we did. But what I personally did was I made two projects. So one was a functional part of it, and other was the pure aesthetic form model, which I was very passionate about. That yes, we have to build. But I'll say the knowledge I gained doing both, even though in the initial months I was more driven towards pure form, I said that's it and that's what I should be doing. But then over the time, I think I also got insights into why professors are saying like this. There is a reason of the function which has to be very beautifully connected together with the form. So I think that I got as a core learning from this institute, and which I carry with me today. So wherever I am is thanks to the professors and the institute and the knowledge I gained, hands-on working, and I still do it. So honestly, it's my hobby, which I came in carrying with me. But that was a raw thing, and today I think I can say still is my hobby. I do my hobby at my company, but they support me and they have faith in me that I design cars. But still the knowledge and the basics that I have learned is really, I cherish it even today, and I think those memories are every day. Whenever I work, I remember the way we used to work in workshops here, and thanks to staff and faculty guidance. I think the flexibility and that freedom was there. So I'll urge all the students present here or who are probably listening. I think let's use this platform, this amazing wisdom and knowledge here in this institute. And 25 years, I just can't believe it's 25 years. I think I'm still a fresher sitting here as a introduction. That we just joined the institute and we're sitting here. So I still have the freshness in my heart. And I think as a designer, that's the most important thing. You should always be fresh in your thinking and your heart, because that's what keeps you alive and makes your ideas work. So all the best, and thanks to respected faculty and seniors for their guidance throughout. And all the best to youngsters, young minds. I think you are the ones who are, personally, I am really looking forward to, and definitely you will shape things to come. So thank you, and all the very best.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So initially I thought I would introduce them, but I thought, given that their accomplishments, I would rather have them introduce themselves and talk about who they are. So please.
So hi, my name is Ratanjeet, and I happen to be his batchmate. We had to be together, we couldn't help it. You guys selected us and put us together, your problem. Anyways, so we were the first batch. We had absolutely no idea of the seniority or the importance of any of the teachers. We are all like, there is no department to which we were related exactly. So we started at the CDT. So there we used to hear of Professor Jamadagni being the god, because we don't know anybody. And then, Professor Mutinja, of course, is our HOD. And then slowly we start getting exposed. So we have absolutely no idea that which professor is what. We were learning and understanding that what is happening. And it was actually, and we took a lot of liberties, and I really appreciate that despite the liberties we took, all the professors were very, very honest, and you know, they never took out their anger on us, though we did a lot of messy things. I'm very sorry for that. Satish sir, about your strain rate, I still am not sure whether it's useful, but I'm the only guy who has used it actually. In my first year of the job, I had a very severe problem, and that strain rate thing finally helped me sort it out in the first year of my job. So thank you very much. Though, you know, we say a lot of things, but it did work out for me. Pradeep sir, big influence, big influence. I didn't understand most of your course. In fact, I came to you one day, I remember crying that where the hell am I stuck? I didn't want to do this, if you may remember that. But the kind of experiences that you exposed us to, especially that bangle design exercise, where we all rated, you made us rate, you know, as designers, what we think. And then you put us in front of public, and then we got a shock of our life. Even as designers, we are not able to correctly judge what the public actually wants. It was total. Designers, yeah. So it was really amazing the way you broke the shackles in our mind, you know, that strong, as he likes to call that, I was technically oriented or something like that. But yes, you helped break those shackles. Mrityunjay sir, thank you very much, sir. You have been very kind to all of us. Your coaching has been very, very helpful. Gurumurthy sir, most respected guy we had in our times. I remember we too didn't know you very well that time. So during the holy time, we came with colors into your classroom, and that's the only time we saw the Rudra Rup of Gurumurthy sir. Otherwise, he's so kind. But he was really, I mean, and then I think we never celebrated Holi after that. We just left it. We said, forget it, yeah. So, I mean, but no, sir, you have taught us very well, sir. Satish Vashukala sir. Devakar Sen sir, you were my guide also. Really nice to, I mean, I didn't know. Today only I found out that it was your also first time with ergonomics. But still, no, still, the way you did it, sir, we didn't realize that. We really appreciated it. Thank you very much, sir. Chalapati Rao sir, your classes were so hilarious. It used to make our day, sir. Beautiful, beautiful, sir. The way you put across concept with your jokes, and the way you remember, right? It was really crazy. So I'm actually privileged to be from the first batch of IISc, I would say. One thing I would like to talk about my batchmates also. People like Sridhar and Saurabh and Ravi Shankar, who are at that time at least very form-oriented kind of people. And you know, that's the divide in the faculty came into the students also. It happened that time. So, and but the point which I'm trying to make here is, they had a dream very clear in their head. They were not here that I have come to IISc now, IISc's responsibility is to teach me. That is something odd which I find when I interact with students. I do interact with some students. They come here thinking that IISc should have taught me GUI because jobs are more in GUI. IISc should have taught me art better because art is so important. That's just not the right attitude. IISc is a platform which gives you a variety of courses in all different domains, and it gives you a choice to choose. So until unless you are clear in your head, today Saurabh Singh is speaking, you want to become an automobile. One day I'll come and give a presentation, you will all think, "Arey, wow, healthcare, beautiful." Then that other person will come, you immediately, you know, when you see success, you tend to follow that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that, right? Saurabh, if you have a dream, this guy was crazy. I mean, at that time, 1997, nobody was doing industrial design in automobiles. Okay, TVS was doing something. And just Centro and Mattis had been launched, and we were fighting, you know, that Mattis was more beautiful than Centro, but Centro won the war. You remember all the stocks we used to have, those kind of things. But it was crazy that, what the hell are you thinking? He told me, yeah, don't worry, I'll go out of India, but I want to make a car. That craziness which he had, that craziness matters. That craziness was there in all of our batchmates. Shana was such a outstanding designer. He works with so many good clients. I went to his design studio. We get to, I mean, you feel proud to be privileged to be a part of such kind of diverse people who fought all the time, but had fun. We had total fun. I mean, we are not enemies at all. I mean, but we are enemies in a way from philosophical point of view, and that helps us evolve our own philosophy. So I would request all to appreciate what IISc is giving you. It's giving you a platform to explore different frontiers and choose your own frontier. Don't expect IISc to tell you, do this, you will get a job. That is not what IISc's course is about. So if you can do that, first make a dream, like this crazy fellow, or like those crazy fellows sitting down there, Santanupal, Amit Banerjee. Have that dream first, and the moment you have that dream, IISc is there to take you there. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you. That was, I think, a very important message, very well timed. I have that discussion with students, and I struggle to convey it as well as you have done. So we'll take on now I think you can start with Shantanu Paul. And yeah, if you can get the, it's connected, right? Yeah, please go ahead, Shantanu. I think.
Okay. No. Thank you, everybody.
And please introduce yourselves as well.
Yeah, I'll do that, Vishal. Maybe I'll do that at the end, because I think I want to introduce myself as the student of MDes. I think that's the more important thing here. So I think the first thing I'll say is it was really nice to be a part of this, especially for somebody who's living so far away. You know, it's like time travel. Like 25 years have passed, but some of the conversations have not changed, even between the students and even within the faculty. So it was really good to see everybody and really enjoy the passion that Ratan has, that Saurabh has, and even the faculty, I would say, really seeing everybody, the first batch of professors, I think all the professors, thank you so much for what you have done for us. It's really helped us in our careers and have taken us a really different way. The way I'll introduce myself is I actually was very different when I came into the program, and I've actually taken a very different path as well out of the program as well, and maybe I'll share a bit of that, so that I think there's a way of looking at design in the traditional sense of what we can do, but there is more than design than what is offered in the traditional sense. So I've learned a lot from this institute, and I do use some of those skill sets daily, but it's in a very untraditional way, in a very different way than what would have actually thought about in the typical application of design in itself. So I was actually the only architect that was actually hired at the first batch. So if there are many architects in the program, I will say take some credit of being the only architect in a batch of mechanical engineers, and I would say a few electrical and electronics engineers as well. So it was quite the challenge to be a part of a team. I think I've become more technical over time, given maybe their influence, and they've become more aesthetic, maybe hopefully given my influence over the years. The thing that I took most about when I kind of worked was a part of IISc is the experience that I had in working with Amit and being part of NTNU in Norway, when we had the opportunity to really go in Trondheim and really fabricate something real. I think it was a wonderful opportunity given to two students, and it would not have happened other than if IISc had not given us the opportunity. So we, as Professor Ghoshal mentioned, we actually had the opportunity to go to Trondheim, really fabricate a foldable bicycle out of aluminium, and we did not know much. There was a lot of language barriers, and there's a lot of difficulty in working with that. But again, I think IISc is the place that gave us that platform. It gave us that opportunity to really take ideas and make it real. And I think it was a really learning lesson for me, because it's easy to have ideas, and what I've learned through my career, it's difficult to implement them. So I think a lot of times, if you can dream a lot of big things, but if you cannot implement them, I think there is no value in that. And that's something that I've carried away with me in my life throughout. And I would say this, my career has been very different. I'm right now, I head artificial intelligence and machine learning for a large global bank, and work with really making analytics and AI real. And I've had the opportunity to work with many different universities like University of Toronto, University of Waterloo, to really lead the forefront in the thinking on AI and machine learning. But a lot of that, actually, the foundations of that is around product and product management and design thinking. So, there is some, like I've been very instrumental in working with many of these pieces, and some of the fundamentals that were taught in test programs are actually being now talked about in corporations and universities across the world. How you think creatively, how you introduce the concepts of being a product owner and really doing product management is not new to only the concepts of designing a car or designing a gadget. It is also introduced in designing financial products that we do. Like when we design credit cards, when we design banking products, those also have a very client-centric aspect to it. You need to understand what the client's looking for. Some of the ways that you go about doing it is very similar to some of the concepts we're learning here. So my only kind of encouragement to each one of you is, as you're listening to this, is think beyond what the applications that you have taught. There are many people in the world looking for design thinking, really using a creative process and merging the creative process with the technical process. And the technical process could be mechanical engineering, the technical process could be financial engineering, the technical process could be capital markets, but there is a huge amount of value in thinking in a creative fashion and being able to put that together. So I think that's kind of been my, I would say, biggest kind of takeaway from what I've been able to get from here, other than the, I think, lifelong relationships that I've formed with my friends and people. Yes, so no, thank you so much again for giving me this opportunity. It was such a pleasure. I felt 25 years younger by being a part of this. And I always say Monday mornings are the most difficult time to get up, but today I was up at 6 in the morning and joining the call at 6:30 because I was really looking forward to being a part of this. So thank you once again, and it's really good to see everybody here. I think I look forward to many more successes from the MDes program, and if I could be a part of it, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So maybe we can have Shahnawaz going next. And he's based in Bangalore and very well connected to the program. Has been meeting all the students and guiding them. So yeah, but I'll leave you to introduce yourself, of course.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? You can, yeah. Yeah. So nice meeting batchmates. I cannot respond otherwise. Kudos to you all guys who are there, and respected professors over there. If you're hearing me, I think thanks for all the trust that you had with us, and then the hard work that you endured with us to bring us wherever we are right now. I mean, a couple of things. I think most of them Ratan and Saurav had spoken about. But I'll give you a sense of how we were thinking during that time when we were in the institute. We were like a sort of a stepson into this whole Indian Institute of Science. We really didn't have any department of sorts. We never belonged to CPDM. We didn't have a CPDM at all that time. We were in CDT for some time. We were in mechanical engineer, and then mechanical engineering, professors and students would look at us like, hey, these guys are like outsiders. In CDT, we were like another set of outsiders. So we were like an underdog. We had an underdog mindset, and I think that really helped us because we really wanted to get out of that, and get and almost like get all that we could get out of the program, all that we could get out of the faculty and the facilities. So I think it was a boon in disguise for us at that point of time, being in that situation. And so when we are not part of any particular department, it's like we are part of all the departments. That was kind of a mindset. And when I look at the professors who taught us, I think TSM, BGM, and JD. I mean, I had not even a single instance where they ever denied opportunity or any assistance at all. I mean, though we are coming, though they are like non-core faculty at that point of time, they didn't really have to worry about, as in give us priority, but then they never denied any opportunity. I think, it's like amazing opportunities we have been given. With Satish Kailash, sorry, what I only remember what you taught is the word martensite. I still keep figuring out what is that. But otherwise, I would say my real guru is Pradeep Yamayawar, and I have never seen a passionate teacher like him. I have to just tell that I have absolutely been blessed with having such a teacher, and I think that's pretty much it from my side. So we enjoyed the katamita kind of feeling all the time, and I think that makes it gives us the best of all, both engineering as well as aesthetics. That's it, Vishal. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I was just about to call upon Akbar to go next. So please go ahead, and we'll come to Amit in the end. So Akbar, if you could go ahead.
Oh, hi. Thanks, Vishal. It's such a lovely feeling to be here. And first of all, my greetings, my regard to all the professors, Professor Yadip, Pradeep, Professor TSM, Professor Balagurmurthy, Professor Kushal, Harry Matthew, Professor JED, Satish Vasu Kailash. Let me take this opportunity first to give my humble Greetings to you all. It has been extreme pleasure, and it's an opportunity, to get back and to meet all my, professors, bringing their experiences, how they started, what motivated them, what initiated this course, and other things. Well, what I recall is while you had, I have been hearing the story of what initiated this, starting from 1995 onwards. A similar sort of what was there in my mind as well. As to I have finished my engineering. Now what? There was a sort of what do you call a talent inside almost all of us who have joined MDes, who were thinking differently from the rest of us. And that is one reason why we have chosen this. We all took seed instead of the GATE program. We wanted to be ourselves from the GATE. In fact, during one of the discussions with my colleagues, and in fact, I think Professor Satish Vasu Kailash was also there. There was a joke which came up, as Shana was saying that, we were very different from rest of the people in IISc. We thought that then someone commented all the other guys entered through gate and we entered through a window, and that was seed. All right. So there was something very different about us, and we were seeking something. We were seeking something because we had this particular talent, and we were looking that what could satisfy this particular talent. And that is where the best which came very close to what we were seeking, it appeared in MDes program. In those days, in the whole of India, it was just 25 years ago, it was just 4 institutes which had MDes program. It was just 4: IIT Mumbai, IIT Delhi, and IISc. I was looking for IIT Mumbai. Then when IISc opened up, then it occurred to me, I had also visited IIT Mumbai. Then when I visited IISc, I thought I should choose IISc. One reason I'll tell you. It is design thinking is about getting exposed to as many fields as possible, right? So if you look at IIT Mumbai, that was more of an engineering this thing, but IISc, it had both. You had MTech program, that is all the engineering fields, and then you had all the the fields with regard to biological sciences, with regard to mathematical sciences, with regard to various interdisciplinary fields and other things. So there was something to pick from almost each and every department over here. And that is the biggest benefit which all of us have being in IISc. Today, you must have noticed MDes program is there in almost 50 institutes or maybe 60 institutes in India. All right. Now, you will have MDes in product design, you have MDes in something else. Within that MDes, you have multiple. Even fashion design is also sometimes they give it as MDes. So that is where, IISc has got its own separate identity, because in a very, very simplistic term, if I define MDes, having, crossed this career of 20 years, MDes is like you're learning to drive a car. All right, you come here, and we all know, how to drive a car. But the thing is, the mind takes time. It is a matter of practice. All right. So then, after say a month or something like that, then that particular skill is imbibed in your mind. The MDes exactly gives you the same thing: design thinking, creativity, and holistic thing. It gives you the way to look into these aspects. Now, having done that, now you're on a journey. All right. So you have learned how to drive a car. Now you're on a journey. All right. So when you are on a journey, you wouldn't know that, where my design thinking and holistic thinking is going to get applied to. So that is where one needs to get exposed to as many fields as possible. And IISc gives you this particular chance abundant. There is no dearth of this particular thing. In fact, I was, initially when we had courses in metallurgy, when Professor Vastu Kailash was giving us, Shanavas was saying some very complicated concepts and other things. So now I feel like we should have exposed to much more areas. we were exposed to just 10% of what IISc's multidiscipline areas can give this thing. Mind you, creative thinking is for everyone. It's a holistic thinking. All human beings, we are all born in this particular nature, but because of the way we get trained in our school and colleges and other thing, we get streamlined. We streamline our mind to think in a particular direction. MDes again helps you to release all the shackles and come back to the original thinking, what a human brain is capable of. Now, having said that, now I was wondering that, why should the creative engineering, creative philosophy, creative thinking, how do you do thinking from holistic to part, whole to part, on all this thing? Why should be applied only to the persons who are in an MDes? Rather, MDes should be giving this particular course to all the other disciplines within IISc, saying that, we have this particular option. Why don't you take some credits out of this? Today, if you see, the maximum creativity is happening in vaccine design. CRISPR technology. I mean, do you think the creativity is not relevant on all these fields? Definitely, 100%. There are so many, each vaccine has got a different way of approach. Now, how does this approach come? It is because of creative thinking. So, in my opinion, we are not selling ourselves much to the other department. And also for the students of MDes, you should try and see, at least make a visit to each and every department and try to find out what they are doing. I mean, if I ask you to take an assignment in each department, that is not possible. That is too much of a load. But at least go and see the department. I mean, the only chance which we could get exposed is we used to have some sessions on photography. There was one assignment, you do a photography storytelling. So then we have to run into some other department, try to find out what is their life, what is something like that. That was one of the most exciting things which we had. So don't miss this opportunity. Once you come out, it will be very difficult to find an institute like an IISc. And as I said, just to recap, this is nothing but, Sana was, as well as Shantanu was also mentioning very correctly, look at the way he has applied his design thinking into completely different areas of differential modeling into this thing. So basically, the skills which are imbibed, it is applicable to almost all areas. Just keep one thing in mind, creativity is for everyone. And look in these directions, there is complete opportunity. And having said that, I thought my brief about me, I got selected in L&T and I was selected in L&T Defense. And one of the reasons is they wanted to look at a holistic designer. I mean, the guy has got with sort of background, we've got nothing to do with this thing, but they were looking at a person who can think in a different way. How do you think all the aspects? There is the form follows function, functionality, ergonomics, all this thing in a balanced way. So that's where I got an opportunity to be.
Hello.
Most advanced weapons at that time, the armaments like Kash, Agni, this thing. I was involved in the armament, definitely into the missile launching, which involved significant amount of MDes knowledge. Then I did a functional domain. I moved into a different area to transportation design, wherein it was more to do with the interiors of rolling of European trains. I mean, like Bombardier, Alstom, and other thing. And as part of it, I was given an opportunity. Why don't you design a bioreactor also for a train, which I could pull on because of some sort of an exposure to certain aspects. So you wouldn't know what sort of an assignments will come up, as you go through the journey of a corporate career, and the exposure what you get in IISc is, I would say that it is what you learn is only 30%, and remaining 70% you have to learn within IISc of various other departments. So with that, let me stop over here. And it was extremely, I'm thankful for Professor Vishal for approaching me. And I'm very sorry. And in fact, I'm feeling guilty that I have been away from my alma mater for so many years because I did have some personal challenges as well. So as a result, I thought, let away from this other aspects. So now I'm sure, I will try to interact as frequently as possible. Professor Gurumati is, I'm available in any time. I'd be glad to be part of the faculty again. Sorry.
I think it's on our side. Yeah, thank you very much, Akbar. Sorry, we lost connection for a minute. All right, so now we have Professor Amit Banerjee. So Amit, all yours.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I can add more than what my batchmates have here, but it's great to see you. It's great to see six of the 10 batchmates. I mean, I was one of them, so we are five here. It's great to see the faculty and staff. It's great to be part of that first batch that graduated in '99. I don't know if you can hear me really well. I couldn't hear much of what was being said, but I'm glad that you guys organized this. My journey I won't take a whole lot of time. I went back to my roots. I'm a mechanical engineer. I got my PhD, and then I went back to teaching. So at Penn State, I would say that I do the I was in charge of the capstone courses, and then because of the unique background I have, I still have to explain to folks what an MDes is. I mean, they go the BS, the masters, the MS route. So I still have to explain to folks what my MDes means. And but I think it makes me a unique person, even in university, like where I am right now. So the capstone courses I teach, I still follow some of what we did there, form, function. Students do a build. So this is the class they actually build. It's a 1-year course. They build stuff. And I think my background at IISc has helped me kind of mold that course into the way it has become. It's one of the major one of the selling points that our campus have. I work with grad students and masters and PhDs. One of the master's programs that we have started is really new. It's only 3 years or 4 years old right now, and we are part of that growing process. So once we are like kind of going through it, my mind went back to how our first batch felt. So I kind of could put myself in the student shoes. So at that time, it felt as if we are still trying to find our way, like most of my friends mentioned. Faculty and staff mentioned that too. So it's still trying to find our way. We're still trying to create that niche, and it's great to see the program grow so much. I mean, it's really good to see where we started and where we are right now. But at my work, we are going through the same process, and it's good. It's actually good to go through it. It's good to find what you do best. It's good to find what you don't do well, and mold your program towards it. So right now we had a group of students who graduated, and they said focus is something we lack. But my point was, yes, we will lack it for a while, but then that's how the program grows. So again, great to be part of this. Vishal, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. Esteemed faculty and staff, great to see you. And with that, I'll stop.
Thank you very much. And of course, we hope that we'll continue this engagement with all the alumni, and that's the beginning. And we'll continue these celebrations for the next 25 months onwards. So I think with that, we'll close this session. I'll just ask you guys to stay back. I think we had it until 7 o'clock, but I think at least the 2 of you can join, and we can take a photograph of the 6 of you together. While in the meanwhile, we have the closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we are close to the end of the program. Before we move out to Haiti, I will just take 5 minutes. We would like to do one very important thing, which is to felicitate our founding members. So I would like to ask. Actually, we are all founding members, so I suppose I'm not part of it, so I'll have to do that, and maybe I'll ask Dr. Srinivas to come, please. Dr. Srinivas is heading the technology business incubator the CPDM has is medtech and geriatric healthcare, and I'm just trying to find out who else is here. I think the two of us will have to do the job. So Vishal, as soon as you have finished your photograph, then I think we need to call up on stage everyone and start giving them away our mementos. Where are the mementos? Okay. I think it may be easier also for you to take a photograph if I just ask everybody to come on stage and we just give the memento, or do you want to do it one at a time? I think together would be great because we can take photograph also. Please come on stage. Yeah, of course. All founding faculty members, and then we'll take the staff and students as well. Okay. Ashidabo, please come. Have we lost some people, or are we still everyone there? Okay. Our most entertaining. Our most astute. you very much, John.
All of us together. That's more important.
So I would like to call up on stage those who want to say, to do the vote of thanks. Please come.
Yeah, this is the one of the most important duties, to appreciate the contribution of all to organize and carry out this program. Yeah, this is one of the starting programs for this 25 years celebration, Silver Jubilee celebration of CPDM. In this particular event, which happened in a in-person mode in IISc in this room, so we thank profusely to IISc and its PRO, Mr. Virana Kumar, for allowing us to hold this in this room. And initially planned it to be held in the department, but then we realized that we have grown, so we need a bigger space. So we planned here, so it is a good thing. And then the faculty, students and staff of CPDM, and especially Professor Vishal Singh has put enormous amount of effort, and he's still continuing to do that. So as a continued thanks to Vishal, the first and second year and the students. I like to specifically mention that the second year MDes student Girish, who made the props and the backdrop, and Rohit, who made the poster, and yeah, I think Matangi did that logo design. Yeah, so Matangi Krishnan, who designed this logo. And Mr. Ravindra at CPDM office, and students on the left of Vishal, Uttam Jodawat and Vignesh Kumar, who helped in the logistics. Thank you all. And all the faculty members, other than they are not directly part of CPDM, but whose encouragement, contribution, and in some sense I should say the love for the program, is deeply appreciated. Professor Vikram Jairam, Satyam Suhas, Professor G. Padmanabhan, and Professor G. K. Ananta Suresh, Raghuram Govardhan for supporting this event. And we also thank the caterers of food. We are yet to test it, but still I can thank them for this event. And thank you all for coming and participating, including all the earlier founding staffs as well as the current students. Right, without you, the program is incomplete. So thank you all.
And thanks to myself.
Yeah, so I will just add to and thank many of the first year students who helped all day. Sorry, the name was not specifically listed. You all know, so Pawan, Mayank, Charan, so all of them. So all of them helped here. I'm not listing everyone them, but yeah, I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that many of them helped all through the event. Thank you. Yeah, And please, we'll collect over on the other side for high tea. Yeah. Oh yes, and we'll take a group pic in a place where we'll find enough space to have everyone standing. So we'll have to find a decent place. We'll go the other side and we'll find it there.